What's going on in the classroom is much more than just a single project. It's integrated into everything we do, from the website to students' Google Drive accounts to messaging systems through shared documents and electronic files and websites they can access. It's integrated to everything we do, and it enriches the learning experience for all subjects, not just one.
I can also share some of the ways that I use my own Google Drive account within my classroom and my teaching skills. As you can see, this is my folder for this year, 2015, 2016, grade 7, 8, and all the folders that I've created files for this year are within this particular Drive folder. So some of the folders I can show you on here would be the subject folders, and you can see the individual files that I would have for teaching or that I would share with students.
Google Docs, specifically for me, has enabled me to allow students to collaborate much more authentically, give quicker feedback, give more personalized feedback, and allow for continual improvement from start to finish on any project.
So for some of the slideshows, there will be voice audio, like Mr. Freiberger said, in the background, so you'd have headphones on, and then you'd be able to listen to his instructions telling you what to do. And one of my favorite things about this particular thing is, first, you can go at your own speed, but with the audio, Mr. Freiberger, he adds in some jokes, which is funny. And
I love Mr. Wagner.
I also really like how you don't have to keep track of all your papers and stuff, and you can see like your own personal grade book, so you see like when you did things and like what you got on it and like how important that was. So you know, like, okay, I need to improve on this, like I need to work harder on this, and like it's different than just your teacher having its own grade book and like just him.
You can see all of the different assessment tools you're able to use on this site. You can actually add more or take some off, whatever the teacher desires to use is available. For instance, the grades, if I click on that one, you can see all of the year's grades, assignments, quizzes, tests, anything that's assessed and marked, you're able to post and display for each individual student.
I've given students access to the learning tasks, and they can navigate through them at their own pace, on their own timelines, with agreed upon check-ins. So, you know, I'll throw a due date on, like, you have to be at this point, and then I'll be able to check in with the students on their completion, or if they're not understanding something. And class becomes almost like a conferencing setup, where as students are encountering something that they're struggling with, they can come and sit down with me and we can work through it together.
Well, for me, the advantages is because there's a lot of people who are better at typing than they are at writing, and so those people, this is kind of like what they're good at, and it also helps them for at home, because I know an old excuse used to be like, oh, I don't have these materials at home for the writing, but a lot of people now have like a computer and internet at their house, so it's easier for them to use the Chromebook program.
I know personally I kind of liked bringing the textbooks home and having those pages to look through, and although the electronic program is great, sometimes I like using paper and using the textbooks just as a change and not always having a connection to the Chromebooks. And sometimes when I'm away and for an activity or something, I can bring my textbooks and do that work. If I don't have Wi-Fi, I'm not able to do the work electronically, and so I think sometimes that could be a problem.
But a disadvantage for a learner who needs to actually see it, or like actually be like a hands-on like learning type of person. They can't just see it online and then think, oh, like how do I do this, because they actually need to do it instead of just seeing it there in front of them, which I learned like that, and it has been hard at times sometimes doing that.
I think we do a lot just to make sure we still have that balance, and I think that's the advantage in being in this class, because we always have those extra things for everybody feels like to have their learning skills being supported by in different class settings, because personally I'm a hands-on learner and I like to have to be engaged, to be in that, not just solely on a computer screen. So I like that, especially in this class setting, we do get the best of both worlds.
It does prepare us for high school more, because in the geography, our teacher would just like give us all of our work, and that's basically what he said an academic classroom would like look like it in high school. And that is saying that, oh, like down the road, like your teacher isn't always gonna go through everything. They're gonna just like give it to you and trust that you know like what you're doing, and trust that you know that you are going to ask questions in the future.
It's more about like students working through ideas together and exploring those things, concepts, expectations, being able to talk about them with each other, as well as being able to talk about them with me if they're getting to a point where, hey, I'm not understanding this, or I need some clarification on this, and even having access to resources that can better help them understand. So if they run into a challenging word, you know, we've talked about how to use specific tools or apps or extensions on their Drive account to figure it out on their own and be able to internalize the understanding of it rather than being told what it means.